Tens of thousands of Kaiser workers across the West Coast walking picket lines tonight as part of the largest healthcare strike in U.S. history. The work stoppage is expected to last for 3 days, and tonight there appear to be some signs of potential progress in negotiations. In a statement this afternoon, Kaiser said it has reached some tentative agreements during negotiations with union members. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Kaiser says most of those agreements revolve around pay, but workers walking picket lines in California, Oregon, Washington, and Colorado say this work stoppage is about more than money. They're demanding changes to address severe staffing shortages. They're hoping a 3-day strike sends that message to Kaiser negotiators. Fox 11's Phil Schuman spoke with striking hospital workers in Southern California.
They are licensed vocational nurses, x-ray techs, emergency room aides, housekeepers, and so many others. Instead of taking care of patients, they're taking care of business.
We want to be heard and we want to be seen.
Layla Hamida is a respiratory therapist.
I do believe that everyone here comes to work ready to take care of their patients, but when you're short-staffed, you do your best and you have to triage.
Stand up, fight back.
Jessica Cruz is an LVN. Can you afford to walk out?
I don't think it's a matter if we can't afford it. This is a sacrifice we're all willing to make.
The main issues have been staffing levels, outsourcing of some procedures, and salaries. The hospitals, meantime, remain open during the strike, temps filling in, some elective procedures postponed. Joan Weber, who's picking up her husband after heart surgery, hasn't had any issues.
Nothing has changed for him, and the care couldn't be any better.
So nothing was disrupted? There's no problem with his discharge?
Nope.
What do you do?
Faye Alcantar is a caregiver bringing in a patient.
Sometimes we're going to wait about 1 hour before the procedure.
But they're still keeping the schedule?
Yeah.
Just maybe a little delayed?
Yeah.
Oakland-based Kaiser Permanente has 39 hospitals in California alone. The company reported profits of more than $3 billion in the first 6 months of 2023. The regional president summarizing part of the offer.
It's actually 12.5% to 16% over the term of the contract.
Michelle Gaskill-Hames tells Fox 11 that deal will, in her words, keep Kaiser Permanente the employer of choice.
There's an affordability crisis in healthcare. And so it's our responsibility to make sure that we're good stewards of our members' dollars and that we remain affordable.
And that was Fox 11's Phil Schuman reporting for us tonight. Kaiser addressed the staffing issue in a late afternoon statement, saying, quote, on the same day that the coalition strikes began, we are pleased to confirm we have met our goal of hiring 10,000 new coalition represented employees by year end, and it is only October 4th. Some Kaiser workers are intending to strike for longer than 3 days. Kaiser Pharmacy workers in Oregon and Southwest Washington broke from national contract negotiations and went on strike Sunday. This group plans to walk picket lines until October 21st. Beyond concerns about staffing shortages, this union also claims Kaiser has been using unfair labor practices during negotiations. Kaiser issued a statement on the labor dispute with this union, saying, quote, our goal remains to reach an agreement with UFCW 555 that strengthens our position as a best place to work and ensures the high-quality care our members expect from us remains affordable and easy to access. We've got a solid offer on the table that addresses their economic and staffing concerns. The hospital system told the weekly newspaper Street Roots that contingency plans should keep inpatient pharmacies open during that strike. A procession just about to get underway in San Francisco tonight, capping off a day-long tribute to the late Senator Diane Feinstein. Mourners have been coming to City Hall all throughout the day to pay their respects at her flag-draped casket. The San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus performed earlier tonight at City Hall. Senator Feinstein had a special significance to the chorus. KTVU's Crystal Bailey joining us now from our newsroom after speaking with one of the chorus's members. Crystal?
It's no secret Senator Feinstein was a friend and advocate for the LGBTQ community. She was present for the very first performance by the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus, so it was a very fitting farewell. Nearly 100 members, both chorus alumni and active singers, gathered on the steps of the Rotunda at City Hall to pay their respects in song. As I mentioned, the chorus has a storied history with the senator. Their first performance took place in 1978 right outside San Francisco City Hall following the assassination of Supervisor Harvey Milk and Mayor George Moscone. It was a candlelit vigil after the tragedy that put her in the mayor's seat. She was the first woman to be mayor of San Francisco before she became the first female senator from California and the longest-standing female senator in history. Senator Feinstein was no stranger to the chorus. Tom Paulino, a leader for the chorus, recalls beginning his political career as an intern for Senator Feinstein, later becoming a staff assistant for her San Francisco office.
To send her off in song in this hallowed building where so much history has happened, so much landmark civil rights and human rights legislation started here and reverberated out to the rest of the country and to the world. It's a great honor.
And following the performance, which just concluded a few minutes ago, the procession beginning any minute now for the senator as her casket will leave City Hall. And a farewell song for the ages. I imagine her memory will stick with us for years to come. Crystal Bailey, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
A fitting tribute, certainly. Crystal, thank you. And a funeral service for Feinstein is set for tomorrow afternoon. It will be held on the steps of San Francisco City Hall so the public can attend. After that funeral, Senator Feinstein will be buried during a private service for family members. In Southern California, the Manhattan Beach Police Department is mourning one of its officers tonight who was killed in a crash earlier today. There were hugs and tears as his body was brought to the L.A. coroner's office. Investigators say Officer Chad Swanson was caught in a chain reaction crash early this morning on the 405 freeway in the city of Carson. A mile-long procession accompanied his coffin.
He was a dedicated husband and father of 3 young boys, and it was clear to anyone who knew him how much he loved being a dad.
His colleagues are praising Officer Swanson for his bravery, both on and off duty. He was at the music festival in Las Vegas back in 2017 that was the scene of that mass shooting, and he helped to get victims there to safety. Tonight, federal authorities are investigating the cause of a small plane crash in Oregon that killed 2 people and left another person seriously injured. That plane crashed right through the roof of a home last night in the town of Newburgh, southwest of Portland. Several people were inside that home at the time, but none of them were injured. Authorities say 2 people on board the plane died at the scene, and a third person was airlifted to the hospital with serious injuries. The NTSB is investigating exactly why that plane went down.
We express our condolences. We're going to be doing everything within our facility skill sets to try to determine the probable cause. And of course, the NTSB mission is not just to look at one specific accident, but to try to prevent other accidents from happening.
And authorities say the instructor who was inside that plane and died in the crash was an Italian citizen who was living in Oregon.
And in weather, much of the West Coast will be heating up over the next couple days as a big ridge of high pressure is strengthening offshore. We'll have your forecast update coming up.
Also, the man accused of orchestrating the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur made his appearance in a Las Vegas courtroom today. Coming up, more on that appearance and where the case goes from here. Also, California winery owners lay out what this year's late grape harvest will mean for the wine industry. Temperatures are climbing across much of the West. That includes Southern California, where October has really been a warm one so far. These are live pictures tonight from EarthCam, showing us Santa Monica's famous pier, which has been very busy on a warm fall day and evening. As temperatures rise, firefighters, though, are reminding people to stay prepared for the possibility of wildfires. CAL FIRE posted this image on social media today of an old wildfire scene with the caption that reads, "Wildfires won't wait for you to be ready." And it certainly does feel like we are heading into fire weather. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking conditions across the West. Mark?
Tomorrow will be in the upper 80s, Sacramento 91, Los Angeles 94, and Palm Springs 100 degrees. So just last week we were talking about some showers and even some severe snow showers, but a completely different story this week with temperatures warming up today, and that warming will continue into your Thursday forecast with some minor cooling as we head toward the weekend. Showing you this, as you can see, in Spokane today, just a few clouds out there. They don't really have the big time heat up in the Pacific Northwest or up toward Washington, but as you can see, a pleasant 73 degrees. And of course, in San Francisco, temperatures soaring 86 degrees this afternoon. And then down in Southern California, lots of dry conditions, lots of fog-free conditions. And Los Angeles matching San Francisco's high of 86 degrees earlier today. Here's the overall weather story. This big area of high pressure, you can see the big ridge offshore, the circulation, that has been moving in, keeping a good portion of the West Coast completely dry. So it is nice up in the Pacific Northwest. The lingering cool air will continue to move out to the east. 80s and 90s for a good portion of the Bay Area out towards Sacramento, and still talking about triple-digit heat in the desert closer to Phoenix. This pattern wants to stick around into a Friday, somewhat into Saturday, and then it begins to break down into Sunday. But here's the satellite. Typically, we're showing you some fog, at least hugging portions of the California coastline. Not the case for today. A few leftover patches, though, you can see way out to the west of Los Angeles, but completely in the clear from Eureka down toward the Bay Area, down toward Los Angeles. And current numbers, San Francisco, that is a warm 82 degrees right now. Phoenix 91. Seattle, though, 62 degrees, so they do not have the major heat up in the Pacific Northwest, at least this time, at least for this go-around. And no big changes over the next several days. You can see the game plan for Seattle, just partly cloudy skies. Lots of sunshine for San Francisco. Out towards Denver, you can see a sun-cloud mix. Los Angeles getting the heat as well, and back to triple digits for Phoenix, especially into Friday and Saturday, 102 to 104 degrees. But it looks like it will begin to feel like fall as we head into next week. So some heat over the next few days, and looks like we'll be cooling things off over the weekend. Alex.
All right, sounds good, Mark. Okay. Thank you. Smoke from a brush fire in Arizona is leading to a whole lot of complaints from people living nearby in Scottsdale. The green waste fire, as it's being called, has been burning since Saturday. People in the Scottsdale area complained today the fire is putting off smoke with a terrible odor that has some worried about the air quality.
Your eyes burn, your throat closes up. It's not good. Yeah.
So early in the morning you walk in and you breathe the smoke, of course it's not health.
Health officials say they are monitoring air quality in that area. This brush fire is called the green waste fire because flames are burning through green waste in a landfill there. That waste includes things like tree branches, grass, and plant clippings. People living on Maui are calling on Hawaii's governor to delay plans to reopen the western part of the island to tourism. Governor Josh Green has said the area affected by last month's deadly wildfire will reopen to tourists this Sunday. Dozens gathered at the state capitol in Honolulu yesterday trying to deliver a petition to the governor. Community organizers brought the box to the governor's door, but his staff said he was not there to take it. Representatives from West Maui and the Lahaina Strong activist group were there, saying it is just too soon for tourism.
Majority of the people, if they want to go back to work, it's because they have that fear and uncertainty about moving forward. If there was financial relief, they could be out serving their own community instead of serving tourists.
It's just baffling to me. We didn't even get a chance to speak for ourselves. You know, the decisions that are being made for this October 8th reopening will ultimately affect us. So shouldn't we be consulted with?
So far, 14,000 people have signed on to that petition. Almost 5,000 alone were Maui residents. The Major League Baseball committee overseeing the Oakland A's efforts to relocate to Las Vegas say that they will be meeting again later this week to discuss that possible move. The committee will evaluate the team's application and define the new operating territory and television territory. The committee will then make a recommendation to MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred and the league's executive council. The council will give a recommendation to all 30 teams, who will then vote on that bid. At least 75% of clubs need to vote in favor in order for the A's relocation to go through. In Las Vegas, county leaders are taking steps now to try to clear street vendors from the Strip. This new measure, approved by Clark County, bans street vendors within 1,500 feet of resorts and casinos, stadiums, and convention centers. Today, the area by the world-famous Welcome to Las Vegas sign was empty of the usual crowd of vendors who were there. Violators face a $500 fine and potentially jail time.
I've been to the Las Vegas sign a few times in the night in the last month. I can't wait to start enforcing it because unfortunately there's more than 10 there any given night, and I don't think that was the intent for the Las Vegas sign.
This ordinance takes effect on October 17th. Cities and counties must now create a path for vendors to apply for licenses by July of 2024. A self-described gang member who investigators say was involved in the killing of rapper Tupac Shakur appeared in court for the first time today in Las Vegas. Fox's William Lajeunesse reports he has been ordered to show up back in court later this month.
A brief court appearance in Las Vegas for 60-year-old Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, accused of ordering the 1996 murder of rap legend Tupac Shakur. Davis's arraignment on Wednesday was cut short after he asked for and received a 2-week delay to retain counsel.
That is when he will formally enter a plea of not guilty, I believe, and then at that point, the judge will set a date for jury trial.
Police arrested Davis last week near his home in suburban Henderson, Nevada. Investigators charged him with 1 count of murder with a deadly weapon nearly 3 decades after Shakur died following a drive-by shooting off the Las Vegas Strip. A longtime suspect, police say Davis publicly admitted to taking part in the shooting several times and even wrote a tell-all memoir.
It was just really obviously bad optics for Las Vegas Police Department because he's out here publicly confessing and people are wondering, why isn't anybody doing anything about this?
Clark County authorities, who faced heavy criticism for their handling of the case, say more time was needed to obtain evidence.
We wanted to make sure we get it right. We wanted to make sure we had legally admissible evidence.
As for motive, authorities say it was revenge. Hours before the shooting, Davis's nephew had gotten into a casino brawl with Shakur and his entourage. In retaliation, Shakur was later shot while riding in a car with Death Row Records founder Suge Knight. He later died of his injuries. A judge ordered Davis to remain in custody without bail. His arraignment is scheduled for October 19th. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
Striking actors sat down for more talks in Los Angeles today with the major Hollywood studios. It's the second day of negotiations this week. The two sides met in a closed-door session on Monday, but experts say it's promising that they're back for day 2. There is also hope that a deal could be close after the screenwriters ended their strike last week. SAG-AFTRA represents about 160,000 actors. In other labor news, Washington State's minimum wage will be raised to $16.28 an hour next year. This is a 54-cent raise following a cost of living adjustment of 3.3%. The state's Department of Labor and Industries made the announcement last week. The state minimum wage applies to workers 16 and older, and businesses are allowed to pay anyone who is 14 or 15 years old 85% of that minimum. Washington State's current rate of $15.74 an hour is the highest state-level minimum wage in the country this year. Welcome news for wine lovers as California's grape harvest gets started. Coming up tonight, why some winery owners were worried in the run-up to this year's grape picking. Also, Powerball players here on the West Coast counting down to a drawing worth more than $1 billion. FEMA has completed a nationwide test of the emergency alert and wireless alert system. That alert sounded around 11:20 this morning across the country. This test was the 7th such test since 2011 and by far the most ambitious. Cell phones received a text with a vibration and tone. TVs and radios played that tone for about 1 minute. This was the 7th nationwide emergency alert system test, and FEMA says the purpose here was to make sure the system stays effective for warning the public about emergencies, especially on the national level. President Biden is canceling $9 billion in student debt. The president made the announcement today at the White House. He says student debt relief will be available for 125,000 Americans. This move is a result of his administration's fixes to a number of programs, including the income-driven repayment plans and public service loan forgiveness. Today's announcement means that in total, 3.6 million borrowers will have had $127 billion in debt canceled through the Biden administration's programs. Disneyland has a plan to try to get families committing to visits to the theme park months ahead of time. The theme park in Anaheim, California, announced plans today to slash the price of admission for children for a limited time. Starting October 24th, you can buy a ticket for children ages 3 to 9 for $50 per kid. Depending on the day you go, a regular ticket for a child that age starts at over $100. You'll be able to use these special tickets for visits to the theme park between January 8th and March 10th of next year. Wine lovers can count on California creating some great wine this year. Vineyard owners have begun a late grape harvest season. All that rain that fell in wine country this spring and a relatively cool summer delayed the harvest this year. As KCRA 3's Maricela de la Cruz reports, that did have some winery owners worried.
A late season in wine country.
The longer that's on there, and you are risking other stuff happening like fires or frost, but we've been very lucky so far.
Had a few winemakers on edge this year.
Cross my fingers because we're not done with harvest. Has been the perfect harvest so far, I would say. We haven't, knock on wood, dealt with any fires in this area where the smoke has affected us.
As a wet winter and relatively cool summer delayed the ripening process.
It's been a really good harvest so far, and we're excited to see how these wines turn out. I think we're going to have some really good ones this year.
Leading to a steady and careful process this year.
This harvest has been really great because we'll get the right amount of tonnage each day. So we're working a great pace each day instead of just a ton all coming in at the same time.
And one that's promising a good batch of wine.
But right now, it's actually been kind of nice that it's coming in a little bit later. It gives us time here at this side of the house, to fully go through primary fermentation, and then we're not rushing stuff, pressing things a little earlier to make tank space.
And this year's late harvest also resulted in more fruit. At this specific vineyard, they tell me that they saw from 10 to 15% more grapes on the vine. In Amador County, Maricela de la Cruz, KCRA 3 News.
Well, you have another chance tonight to win that Powerball jackpot that just keeps on growing. It has climbed to $1.2 billion, the third largest prize in Powerball history and the 7th largest among all American lotteries. Now, if you live in Alaska, Hawaii, Nevada, or Utah, unfortunately, you will not be able to buy a Powerball ticket in any of those states. But for those of you playing, the best of luck to you. Thank you for watching West Coast Wrap tonight. You can stay up to date on all the stories we're covering online. Just head over to westcoastwrap.com. Have a great rest of your night.